Yes, welcome to the Chosen Ones and Pro Vercelli. I think before we go anywhere, let's see why we chose them. Now, you might not realise this, but Pro Vercelli are one of the most successful teams in Italian football. Proudly displayed at the ground 7 Scudetto League titles. But a quick look at FM shows that those 7 Italian Serie A titles, the last one was 1922, but they did win 7 league titles between 08 and 22. That's epic. And as these dated shots show, they haven't even been in Serie B since the season 2017-2018, and it's been downhill ever since. But the main thing we look for when we're selecting a club to go alongside big history, who are the local rivals that are a big time team that we need to overthrow? There's Vercelli there. If we scroll out slowly, we can see we are equidistant between the giants of Milan and Turin. So we've got Inter, AC and Juventus to try and topple. And don't forget the save stipulations. This is the Chosen Ones, and very shortly we'll be choosing our first batch of 6 Chosen One players that must be in the starting 11 throughout the save. These are players that will be with the club from day one, and we only replace them if they age out, and then we replace them from players from our youth team. So this is the famous day one at the club episode. It's a bit different today because later on we will get to choosing those 6 Chosen One players, and I have good news for that. And the good news is we have got what seems to be a ginormous squad. Now, not only the first team squad there, but if I look at the development centre, it looks like we've got some good potential coming through. And if you look at the under-20 squad, it's ginormous. We have got so many players. I haven't even looked at the under-20s yet. All right, okay. So out of all these players, our 6 Chosen Ones should be there somewhere. Next up, we talk about our expectations. As you can see, we're in Serie C Section A, and there's 20 teams in there, so it's a full season. Now, not only that, there's another 2 sections of Serie C here, and then all these teams will go into some sort of playoff. So let's get to the rules section to confuse ourselves even further. If you finish top, which has got to be the goal, you are automatically promoted to Serie B. Thank the Lord. Then it gets complicated. Position 2nd all the way down to 10th, going to the Serie C playoff first round, and there's another playout later on, which I presume is for relegation, and one random one in the mid-table slots. I'm already confused. This should be fun. Now, there is a little bit of pressure on us because if we look at the season preview, you can see that we are slotted in at 7th for 18 to 1. So we're quite a decent team, but the odds on favourite, 1 to 91. So a bit more club background, and I was quite excited to see this, that the overall balance of the club is actually 2 million in profits. They're in a decent little place. The transfer budget's not bad for this level either at 214,000. The wage budget looks like we're right on it on 41,000. So we'll have to play around with that if we were to bring in any players. Now, as far as staffing goes, normally I only bring in staff on day one when I'm really hard depleted and I don't have enough staff. But as you can see here, we're pretty well stacked with staff members, only requiring 1 more staff member. And we've even snuck in a cheeky set-piece coach, even though the club are not allowing it. As far as the comparison with Serie C, we're not bad, we're near the top, so I'm not panicking about that. So now it's the important part, is to assess this squad, and it is a big squad. If I put them in position order, you can see we're quite packed for keepers. We've got an absolute load of centre-backs, which makes me think of a formation straight away. But because it's so big, we need to use our old trick on sorting out who's good enough by using attributes. So this is how I do it on attributes. If we work from the top level and work our way down, this gives me the best guide. So let's say Serie A in this instance. When we get to Serie A, I'm looking for players with attributes in the range of 15 and above. That's the key attributes. So for example, a striker, I want his finishing and composure to be above 15. When we move down to the next level, so in our case, Serie B, I'm looking for the range between 12 and 15. So in that range for the key attributes. When we get to our level at Serie C, anything from 10 to 12 is ideal. Above 12, massive win. Right, so I know what I'm looking for attribute-wise. I've actually changed my guide on attributes since the Salguero save, been a bit more realistic. But I've got a lot of players to work through here and a lot of positions to work through. So it's going to be time for our old friend the filters, but some brand new ones to help me decide which ones of these players have a chance of being our chosen ones. First off, I'm going to look at the centre-backs because I've got so many of them. So the filter view is in. Key attributes across there are also in. I just need to filter down the players now. So we go across the filter, take away positions and just add defenders for now. Take out left-sided, take out right-sided, and I'm left with my centre-backs. Now, as you can see, in my key attribute range, I've actually got quite a few that look pretty decent. Especially this guy, Andrea Sabraga there. There he is. He's 32. He's going to start. He won't be a chosen one purely because of the fact that he is 32 and he'll probably retire pretty shortly. However, as we analyse all the way down here and we look at David Di Marino, for example, he's 24, which is a perfect age really. His attributes are probably going to rise. He could be one of the chosen one players. So next up I move to wingbacks. It's a different filter. We've got different key attributes and a different selection of players to look through. Midfielders now with a key emphasis on hard-working midfield players. So I'm looking for you like your defensive midfielder, your ball players, and looking around it seems like I might have a little bit of a problem in here. Doesn't look like I've got many key attributes that are getting up there where I want them to be. On to more creative midfielders now, and again it doesn't look like I'm really blessed with massively creative players. So we need to figure out a tactic that's going to help that out. We have a couple, such as Andrea Schnetti here, but again, he's 33, so it's very unlikely I'm going to choose him to be one of the chosen ones. So having gone through that squad, it's taken a while, believe me, because it is ginormous. And I've also had to look at the under-20s as well, remember, because they are going to play a big part in this. So I've had to look at them as well to see if any of these guys are going to be able to be the chosen ones. I've managed to narrow it down to quite a few. Now, once I click on these profiles, I'm set on about 4 of them, but I think there's 2 gaps. 2 gaps for chosen one players. Put your thoughts in the comments. Which players you think should be the guys to be the designated chosen ones for this save? I'll put the profiles on the end of the video again so you can have a good look at them. But here we go. Chosen one, number 1 is fittingly our number 1 goalkeeper. Matteo Rizzo will be with us throughout this journey. Now look at the attributes that he's got for us. Not only is he only 19 years of age, he's a goalkeeper, which are hard to come by, but his starting attributes for a goalkeeper are all pretty solid, aren't they? And they're only going to go one way. They're going to go up. He's 6'2". Hopefully we can keep hold of him. We saw him earlier on. David Di Marino has a great option to be a chosen one player. Not only is he only 24, his attributes will rise, but he can also play 4 key positions. He looks an absolute ideal option to be a chosen one's player. Now this is a long haul save, so my next choice is only an 18-year-old Matteo Rutigalano. Up front or out wide, but I think he can be retrained to play in the middle as well, especially when you look at his passing and his vision. He's got great potential. Another option is Roberto Lezzi. He can play either wing-back position, so he's good feet with both. He's only 24. He can grow with the club as well. He'll be competing for a chosen one place with Alessandro Caruso, who is also a wing-back, can also jump into central midfield, but he is only 5'7". So let's concentrate on him as being a potential wing-back for the future at only being 22 years of age. Next option is Matteo Rossi. Now his attributes aren't absolutely blowing me away, but the ones that are good for his position, he's got a good start point. He's got 14 for passing, first touch, a good level of natural fitness and flair. Thoughts? Now for me, an absolute lock as a chosen ones player is Simone Condello. He's only 20 years old. He can play out on the left or as a striker, which I'm probably eyeing up for him to play. He's only 20. Can you imagine his attributes after a few years of good coaching? Maybe an underdog for a chosen one's role is Alessandro Luati. He's from Tunisia but with an Italian background. He's got decent attributes, but he's a little bit older at 21. Central midfielder. Down in the youth team, in fact the under 18s, is a defender called Stefano Collina. Now he is only 17, but if you look at his start attributes for a centre back of 14 for heading, his decisions are good, he's got great determination. Concentration at 9 can grow as the club grows, with jumping reach of 15 and 6'3". I think he's one we seriously need to think about, as is this 17-year-old striker Diab Matawi. Now if we choose these guys, we will give them a face as well, so they will no longer be unknown. What do you think of potential for this guy? 17 years old, finishing and composure already really good. Now the good thing about these youth squads is that if some of the players do age out in the first team, then it looks like we've got a pretty decent bunch of players here to maybe step up and replace them. And that's because our facilities, our start facilities with Provicelli are not too bad at all. We've got decent youth recruitment, but the facilities are decent and the training facilities are also decent. Now expect me to spam this button as this save goes on. Right here, we're going to make board requests like crazy for new facilities and try and improve these as much as we can to build the club from the bottom up. Now the good news is we will be using those 6 chosen ones players, and they're going to be more than likely prospects, but we do have some more experienced players to go around them and help out for especially the first season, such as Andrea Scianetti here. Look, he's 33, he's been around the block in Italian football. Look at that, he's been everywhere. He started at AC Milan without making the breakthrough, but at our level with flair of 16, he's going to stand out like a sore thumb. He's giving me Volante vibes for all you Salgueiros ultras. So I think we've got a good base of experienced players here to go alongside the chosen ones. I don't really want to go over 24, 25 for a chosen ones player. I will if I have to. If we feel like the guys I've featured today are not strong enough to last this journey, we'll go with a guy that's a little bit older. Tactically. Now then. So tactically, I'm thinking classic Italian right at the back for season 1 to see how it goes. I have taken a risk because I've got those potential 6 chosen one players in the team, including Stefano Kleiner, who is 17 and he's probably absolutely in no way ready for the first team. But these are the rules of the save. If he is chosen to be a chosen one, he will have to play in that starting 11. You've also got Di Marino next to him, Lezzi at wing back one side, you've got Rutigilano on the right hand side, and we've got Candello up front with our boy Loati, 6'3" of him in central midfield as well. It shows how young my squad is, by the way. If you go to the registration screen, under 20s don't need to be registered, and loads of my players are under 20. In fact, some are under 19. So we've got a really, really young squad. Pre-season friendly against Napoli in a packed stadium. We actually took the lead. We looked pretty good. Napoli had all their big guns playing though. Still, I was pretty happy with the way they performed, and you could tell the standout players. We succumbed to a late defeat to Napoli's new signing Scott McTominay, but overall pretty happy with that. So that has given me a bit of hope. That has given me a little bit of hope that we've managed to take Napoli to a 3-2 defeat. We have signed one player. I know I said I wasn't gonna, but we're so short in midfield. I bought a free transfer of Massimiliano Busaletto. He's came in, he's very experienced, free transfer, we're not spending any money. He's going to play as the destroyer in midfield. Other than that, that's what we're going to play. Now the question is, are those 6 we've got highlighted the chosen ones, or is there one player that I've missed?